Good morning, Bagby Barracudas. This is BNN for Monday, March 1st, 2021. And now it's time for Name That Teacher's Pet. This teacher's pet's name is Molly McButterpants. Molly loves to bask in the sun. She is 15 years old, and Molly loves to eat strawberries.
Does Molly belong to Miss Ballack or Miss Nicole?
If you guessed Miss Nicole, you're right. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Bagby Art Program Art Slideshow.
It's Miss Diaz here. I'm here actually with a very special person, my mom. So this is Mrs. Lewis, and she's gonna help us do our science portion, but it's gonna be kind of science and social studies kind of all blended in together. And the reason why I brought my mom to help with this is she is an amazing sourdough bread maker. So do you wanna say hi to your...
Hi guys!
So she has become like a pro bread baker. So I thought we would just kind of ask her some questions and kind of see. It's a really cool science to kind of see, but there's also a cool history about it as well. So how did you get into sourdough bread making?
Well, to begin with, I love San Francisco sourdough bread. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and they are known for the most amazing sourdough bread. And my brother, who is 17 months younger than me, went to Alaska on a fly fishing trip, and he went up to Klondike and went to a pancake house and wanted to bring some sourdough starter so he could make not pancakes, but sourdough bread. So he brought it down, he gave some to his sister, his older sister, and my brother taught me how to make sourdough bread based off a starter from Alaska.
Okay, and what is a starter? Why is that important in sourdough bread?
Well, sourdough starter actually is quite ancient. It's thousands of years old. The Egyptians sort of discovered it, possibly, they say, by mistake. It is a natural yeast that goes into a sourdough starter, also called a levain. It has flour and water, and the flour and the water together mixed over time will ferment and create air bubbles and also a flavor. And you can get lots of different flavors. You can get a nutty flavor, you can get a tart flavor, something that almost tastes fruity. Many different flavors from sourdough bread depending on where you live and the types of air you have, which creates a different environment for the flour and the water that's fermenting. It creates bubbles, and those bubbles get bigger and bigger, and when they're ready to float, they will be part of the beginning of your bread dough.
And also, typically, bubbles are a symbol of a chemical reaction. So what's pretty cool is when you're making sourdough bread, you have all these chemical reactions that are going on that make this delicious bread that we love to eat.
So why don't I show you,
That would be great.
and everybody else, a little bit of my starter. So I'm just gonna go over here out for a second. I'm going to show you, if I can, these are my sourdough starter. It's 11. It's ready to actually go and into water and flour to create something magical like this. So I will show you what all of this, all these little bubbles, I don't know if you can see these little bubbles in there. I have little bubbles. Hang on, let me see if I can get it really good. So this is my starter. Can you see little bubbles? And that's carbon dioxide. And it is what gives the bread all of its height. So otherwise you would have a flat pancake. So let me show you. Can you hear the crunch?
That's the sign of a good sourdough bread. Look,
And
it's a nice
this
crunch.
is a little bit of how when it's baked, it gets all the air bubbles and flavor, and you get sourdough bread.
So do all the air bubbles in this starter, is that what kind of helps the air bubbles form in the dough?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. If you didn't have any yeast or starter, you would have just baked flat flour and water. And really the only thing that goes into this beautiful piece is flour and water. And that is why it's so important to take really good care of your starter. So what I do is I take a little bit of starter, it's been worked over many years. I've had this starter for, at least 10 years. And I feed it frequently. And when I don't have time to bake bread or feed it, I will put it into the refrigerator, and that will slow it down.
So what does it mean when you feed your starter?
So when
What are you feeding your starter?
So I can show you, I'm going to start getting this ready because tomorrow morning I'm going to bake bread. So hang on a sec.
And fun fact, my mom actually we had fresh homemade sourdough bread when I got married to my husband. So she helped make a lot of that bread, which was really yummy and delicious.
So we have water, and I'm going to weigh it, which is the most accurate way actually of getting the right combination. So we're going to pour in, I have about 50 grams of starter, and I'm going to add 100 grams of water. And then I am going to add a pre-mix combination in my little container here. Hope I have enough. It's a little bit of unbleached organic flour and organic brown whole wheat flour. And the whole wheat flour gives it a nice little nutty flavor. So we're gonna put 100 grams. So I'm doing 100 grams water and 100 grams flour. Let's see, we're almost there. Okay, it's pretty close. Hang on. Sometimes it takes me a while when I've almost emptied my supply. I'm going to grab a little knife because it's the most efficient way of blending. So I'm just gonna mix it.
Just mix it.
We're mixing. And I will let this sit overnight. And I can show you, I already showed you. So I'm mixing, and also it's all mixed up.
And you can smell it. It smells like that yummy, like you can smell the bread in there. It smells really yummy.
You can smell a lot of the sourdough. So the sourness of it that goes in.
It kind of smells a little bit like vinegar, like a little bit briny vinegar.
Exactly. So here you go. So you'll notice there are no bubbles. It's just mush. And then in the morning,
sits for a while.
You will wake up, I will wake up anyway, and find something like this. And then I will bake bread with it. And then I will cut a little piece like this. And one for Gigi. One for me. Cheers.
Yum. Cheers.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Mrs. Lauk's Laugh Line. What is a cow's favorite holiday? New Year's Eve!
Hope you enjoyed today's episode, and remember, Barracudas, choose kind.